It is estimated that 3.1 billion people live within 200 meters of the sea. Therefore, it is essential that we deal with all potential coastal hazards. There are two main categories of disasters that cause coastal hazards. The first is natural disaster. These are disasters that are out of human control and that are usually caused by weather. Such disasters consist of storms, flooding, typhoons, tsunamis, tides, waterspouts, storm surges, and coastal erosion. Storms are known for being the main hazard that coastal regions have to face. This is because they can potentially simulate other hazards such as flooding and erosion. Coastal erosion is the wearing away of land and the removal of beach or dune sediments by the wave action, tidal currents, wave currents, or drainage. There are several different types of wave action. Hydraulic action is when wave strikes a cliff face, compressing the air in the cracks of the cliff. The pressure then causes rocks to break off from the cliffs.
Hydraulic action is simply the pressure and force of water exerting itself onto the riverbed and banks. And the easiest way to explain that is through showing you a waterfall. Now, as the water comes over to the edge of the waterfall, it tumbles over into the plunge pool. Now, this hydraulic action means that a huge amount of pressure from the water is exerted as it tumbles and crashes into that plunge pool, and this is what erodes the rocks below.
Attrition is the wearing away of rocks in the sea. This takes place when boulders in the sea roll around and chip each other away until smooth pebbles are formed. Abrasion corrosion is when sand and pebbles are carried by waves and thrown against cliffs, slowly breaking them and eroding them. Solution corrosion is a chemical weathering of a cliff from the sea waters with a pH below 7. The second category of disasters is human disasters. These are disasters when humans are the main culprit behind why the disasters happened. Such disasters consist of pollution, trawling, and human development. Pollution is detrimental to the coastal environment. Examples of pollution include fertilizer runoff, oil spills, and dumping of hazardous materials into the ocean. Oil spills specifically are hard to contain, difficult to clean up, and devastating to the surrounding environment where many species have called their habitat. Trawling is the act of catching fish with a large net. Trawling depletes all ecosystems on the ocean floor as it catches and destroys everything in its path.
A bottom trawl is a type of fishing net that's pulled along the sea floor. Fishermen commonly use bottom trawls to catch shrimp and bottom-dwelling fish like halibut and sole. In addition to these target fish, however, the nets also catch a variety of ocean life that's usually thrown back dead or dying. Dragging heavy gear across the seabed can also damage sensitive seafloor habitat.
Development of buildings along the coast takes away the natural occurrences that handle the fluctuation in water and sea level rise. Throughout history, people have created techniques to help keep their land from being invaded or damaged by water. These techniques have been around for long periods of time, and we still use a few of them to this day. Groins are made up of very large perpendicular rock piles. When they're used in the ocean, these walls prevent the migration of sand from side to side down the coastline and create beaches. In rivers, groins prevent erosion and ice jamming. They are not the easiest thing to maintain because the sand constantly needs to be spread in order to get rid of the steep slopes of sand that form on the walls due to wind and currents. Also, coastal recreation or beach replenishment is when coastal material is imported as close to native material as possible in order to allow for beach homology. Material is spread differently in every situation to create the most natural environment possible. This technique replenishes the beach very well. However, this generally does not last for a very long time. This means that people are constantly having to replenish the beach. Seawalls are a very reliable form of coastal management. They are very effective both economically and physically. They are rock piles or concrete walls along the coast in order to work as an armor for the coast. In Lyme Regis in England, houses and businesses were being destroyed, buildings were built on unstable land and very exposed to the sea on one of the most actively eroding stretches of the coastline. In response, a new seawall was built to protect the foreshore and stabilize the land immediately behind it. They started building in 2005 and it costed £17 million. Some benefits that come along with building this new seawall are long-term protection against destructive coastal erosions and landslips, more sand and shingle on the beach, a new promenade along the seafront, and overall a more secure future for the town's people and businesses. Additional works are being planned for future years to provide long-term protection for houses and businesses.